it is, let's just say it's very possible that the Camry may be receiving a little bit of an upgrade later today. But not exactly going to change the purpose. So, still going to be the freaking pump mobile, just a slightly different version. But we'll see. You know, not totally set yet. And this is something which I'm like approaching having to think about. Is if you've ever been in somebody's, I don't remember the last time I was in somebody's car that was like a little bit cooler. But sometimes the seats are like, they're made for a 160 pounder. You know, they're kind of like they're cupping you in from the side. And dieting, I guess I might not have a problem, but I mean, peak bulk, something to think about. You know, I'm no Eddie Hall or like a Hafthor Bjornsson or oh my god, how the hell am I forgetting his name? The guy is freaking huge. Or I'm not Martin Ford. I tell you something, you haven't seen anything until you've seen like basically easily 6'6" Martin Ford, 300 freaking pounds, get into a Bugatti and then drive off. It was nuts. We that was 2 Arnolds ago at the last Arnold UK. I saw him. We did a little workout together. The guy's freaking crazy. Like, he's got a little private gym and everything, but that was a sight. So he's into like actually movies and not exactly. I mean, you'd say acting, you know, but the guy's filling the role of the big ass freaking dude, you know. So he's freaking killing it. That's for sure. But yeah, it'd be something to think about. So I'll see. I will freaking see. But yeah, plan for the lift at least. Today's going to be hamstrings. Today's the hamstring focused leg day. When I'm dieting, I notice that if I overdo it with a full leg day every session, so every 4 days, I start to just basically revert to doing a heavier quad day and then a lighter quad day. Because if I really kill my quads, like, you know, some leg press, solid leg extensions, like nothing too crazy, but if I really hit them, then they're still kind of in recovery a little bit by that second lift. So at what point is it better to do a light little activation lift versus just give it double that amount of time and then come back fully recovered? You know, I used to think, even if you're not fully recovered, come in, hit a little something, and then go back home and fully finish off your recovery and come back for a heavy one. So like heavy day, lighter day, heavy day, lighter day. But yes, at least with quads in a dieting phase, not so much. I think it's just a little bit better for me to do it in this kind of loop. So quads, hams. Quads, hams. So I kind of have like an A-B split. So legs, back, arms, chest. Or is it legs, chest? I don't remember. Legs, back, arms, chest. But the first legs is quads, and then the second time around is hamstrings. But I'm not just going to do hamstrings. I'll add some adductors in there as well. So that's the machine where you're squeezing your legs together. I'd say a decently slept on muscle group. I mean, hamstrings are already cooked in terms of how many people actually hit them. Adductors, I'd say even more so. But there's a little more benefit than only like the stability that it gives you. For one, it's just going to make your quads look thicker on the inside from the front. You know, like you don't want to sit here and do like a lat spread or something. I guess if you're not like really trying to do a bodybuilding style build, it wouldn't matter as much. But having thicker inner legs, your adductors, the muscles that squeeze your knees together, it does kind of add to the look and like frontal thickness of your legs. But for some people, that's a downside. You know, I mean, that's a classic Rich Piana video where he's talking about how by the time he was, you know, like bigger by the days, he didn't even do legs because, well, obviously also his knees were really bad from, you know, everything else he was doing. But he was like, dude, I want to be able to walk. Like, I don't want my legs rubbing together. I'm not a Rich Piana sized dude, but I run into that. You know, if you've ever had to walk or you go to the beach and you're a heavier guy, wet trunks. I mean, it's just chafe city. Like, it's really no fun. But that's kind of the flex of it, you know. But it also kind of serves more of a functional benefit too, because when I squat, leg press, anything, if I don't hit my adductors, if I'm not hitting adductors at least like semi-regularly, well then my pressing stability, for one, starts to go out the window at least a little bit. Like, I'm going to be more wobbly side to side, but also I'm just going to end up pulling my adductor. You really wouldn't think it, right? If we're thinking leg press, we're thinking all of the force is going into your quads and you're straightening out your legs to lift the weight. Like, that's how we're thinking about it. But the more that I've actually gotten better at using the leg press, like when I was a beginner, I don't even want to see my leg press sets. I was probably doing no range of motion, way too heavy, just like gross sets. But now, like going a little bit deeper, like it's a lot of hamstring too. So when I'm bulking up and I do a lot of heavy leg pressing, leg press, hip press, whatever, I back off on my hamstring volume because my hamstrings get worked so much during those presses indirectly. I'm still hitting them, but just, you know, not as much. So just something to keep an eye out for. Like, that's why every chest day I'm talking about warming up my rotator cuffs and my front delts and my back and my forearms and my triceps and my everything. Because even though it's not being hit directly, indirectly it's still getting some force, it's still getting some tension, and you know, shit, where there's tension there's risk for injury. So that's the last thing that I freaking want, you know. Like, at least if I pull my hamstring or something doing heavy leg curls, I can say like, shit, went too heavy on those leg curls, damn. But if I pulled my hamstring or something doing heavy leg press, well, that's not just like a one mistake, like I went too heavy then. That's my whole setup of training has kind of at least leaned away from where it was supposed to be, because clearly my adductors and my hamstrings aren't, you know, in as good of a state as they should be in, you know. So if you haven't gotten into like really, not even trying to optimize, but just trying to like decipher or improve a split for what your current goals are, you might not notice that kind of stuff, but it really does kind of play a role. Like, let's say 2026, dude, I'm bulking up. I want to gain weight. I'm going to get bigger. I'm going to get stronger. I'm doing a gaining phase. Obviously, eat enough food to grow. That's kind of, everybody knows that, right? But how am I going to improve my training? What should I change? You know? So I think some of the more important things that I'd want to look at is like, okay, what's your training frequency? Are you like setting yourself up for not like specifically progressive overload, but are you setting yourself up to really hit whatever muscle you're hitting on that lift to the extent that you're going to come back stronger? You know, and like, how's that frequency look? If you're only doing chest once a week, or like you've got a weird frequency or something, that's just something to look at, you know. But that's a much deeper kind of thing. I think that could be kind of fun. Maybe one of these days, do a stream where I ask for like some emails or something of like a really in-depth look at somebody's training. You know, because if as much as I can say general tips, like hit everything twice a week, you know, do a good amount of heavy pressing, like that's, you know, you can't pinpoint a specific tip for any specific person with that, you know. So it's a little easier to kind of, at least from my experience, being, you know, my credit, giving somebody a critique if I really see what their routine is. You know, like if somebody showed me a workout split and it said 50 sets of curls, 50 sets of pull downs, 50 sets of flat bench, all 4 times a week, or something really weird, I'm going to look at it and say, that's pretty crazy, you know. But it's not so cut and dry as that, right? Because let's say that dude then, you know, links a picture and it's like, or links a bunch of shit and it's like a bunch of his training, and then the guy's a total freak. it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to tell somebody they're training wrong if they're getting the results that the training should elicit? You know, so it's shit, man. Like, there's convention, but that doesn't mean constriction. You know, you can do this kind of stuff all sorts of freaking ways. And I think the guys who lift the best, like, they improve, they enjoy their time lifting, they keep doing it for years on end, and they just like to do it, like it's a fun part of their routine. They're a little more plastic. They're not so like rigid. Like they can adjust, they can adapt, they can kind of change their goals. You know, let's say summertime, a few years from now, shit, man, I want to be athletic again. I want to go to the diving board at the public pool 3 days a week, learn how to do a 3.5 again. Well, maybe I'm going to want to adjust my training accordingly. Maybe I'm going to be a little leaner, do a little bit of like plyometrics or something, you know. So it's and don't think that whenever somebody says a blatant, like, if you're not doing this, give up. If you think this works, like, that sucks. And that's I really hate seeing that. It's just like gimmicky, clickbaity, like YouTube reels or like Instagram reels and TikToks and like YouTube shorts and stuff. Like, it's probably not a bad idea to only listen to at least long form discussions on training, because odds are somebody who's making a long form discussion on training isn't trying to like sneak social media engagement into like all their videos. Like, they're just trying to put out what they know. And I'm not saying me specifically, I'm saying like even full-on exercise science kind of guys, things like that. Like, it's talking about fitness goals and like training improvements. In a way, it kind of is a little studious. Like, you know, there's no cut and dry like one tip is going to change your freaking world. You kind of got to sit and think about it, and you know, it's a little boring. And I can understand why people don't do it, at least a ton. Like, I remember when I was a beginner, I was watching a bunch of Athlete X videos. I was watching a bunch of old Jeff Nippard videos when they were still good. Like, and I don't mean good, I'm saying they were very simple back then. Like, it was just, how much volume should you do? What kind of training should you do? What kind of food should you eat? It was all pretty good stuff. 20 sets a week-ish, you know, gram per pound of protein, carbs, fats, you know, things like that. Like, just very basic stuff, you know? And I'm biased because I'm going to lean towards guys who talk about the basics, because, shit, man, the basics work, right? It's like the guy who understands his carbs, fats, whatever, he's got an edge. You know, he may as well have the cheat sheet for the exam, and everything else is just, you know, a little bit freaking silly. But okay, now I'm just getting into a total ramble. Let's go hop onto a hamstring machine. Yeah, this leg curl, I never see it, but I do like it. So I think we'll start here. And I mean, it's not like I'm doing 10 sets of hamstrings. I really kind of like, I feel like on average, I've been doing like 6, 5. So instead of doing a few, I might just sit here and just do one. And it's, I mean, that's like something to discuss, but in an off season, I would say one movement for a full lift. You could probably do a bit better than that. You can actually hit whatever muscle you're targeting in different ways. But dieting down purely for the purpose of muscle maintenance and like strength maintenance, sometimes simple's good, man, you know? So I can say this, when I leave fully pumped, I'm not gonna think I did my hamstrings a disservice. But who knows? Maybe I'll do one here and then decide to move on. All right. No. A few more. Okay, let's go one notch lighter for the next one. I'm doing some body weight calf raises in between. Like 2 sets of 10 each, just to feel something. Okay, one more like that. Then I might change the style. Do like some pause reps or something. Okay. Alright, I know it's repetitive, but shit, I'm just gonna do 2 more of those and I think I'll be able to call it there. Ooh, all right. One more, and that'll be all. Yeah, this machine is sweet. Oh shit. All right, that's all. Whew. Yeah. I'm gonna go move on, do some adductors, but I think I'll just see you in the car. Pants down, pose down in Planet Fitness is a little, I mean, shirtless is crazy, but pants down is a little bit too crazy. So I think no pose down today. All right. Yeah, I'm starting to feel pretty good. So, post cardio, let me see if I can find the picture. So I remember there was one time I came in last year. This would have been February. Let me go back. February, March. Where was it? Whoa. I'm looking at the shot before I went in and got a tan. But no, I'm trying to find a specific picture I took in Planet Fitness after doing cardio, because yeah, here we go. Yeah, so I'm not here yet, but not that far off, honestly. So this is last February. I don't know if you'll even be able to see that. Let me try to turn the brightness up. Yeah, so that's, it's like all, can you see what I'm saying? Well, either way, that was last February. So after doing just cardio, no, no quad pump, no anything. That might have even been post-workout cardio. I don't recall. But I don't feel too far off from that right now. And that was a February, right? Right now is only not mid, nearly the end of December, but I'm cool. I'm cool with that. So, yeah, morning weight 235. So kind of bounce around 235, 236. So I am on freaking track for sure. Let's assume that I've got the same, but probably an extra pound or two of muscle from last year. That would mean by the time I'm walking around 235 morning wake up weight, like consistently, even maybe dabbling in like a 228 morning wake up weight, that's going to be pretty lean. So if I keep losing a pound a week-ish, which I'm kind of just about at, well then that's going to put me close to what I would want my show-ready leanness to be like a month early. And it's freaking sweet for me. If you're dieting and you're ahead of the game for at least like, doing a bodybuilding show, it's a very comforting feeling. Like, I knew I was going to have a better time the second time around, because now I've done it once. I know what it takes. I know like what it feels like, what the kind of time frame is going to be. Like, the more often you do a drive, like I would always drive back and forth from my house to school. It's like a 2-hour drive. The first time I ever did it, I'm like, oh god, this thing freaking sucks, But the more I did it, the quicker it became, and like the more natural it was. I didn't even have to look up the directions. I just knew all the turns to take. Same thing with dieting. And you don't have to get to show-ready bodybuilding lean to get that experience, Like, you don't have to get down to single-digit freaking body fat to have even lost 20 pounds just going from like 250 to 230. Now you've done it, The biggest difference from, let's say, 20 pounds, losing 20 pounds of body fat and you're at like 30% body fat versus somebody who's at maybe like 15 is the visual change. Visually, somebody who's going to start off at 15% body fat and lose 20 pounds is going to look much leaner at the end than the guy who went from 30% down to 15 or 30% to 10 or whatever that math may be. But I mean, I can't say this for sure because I've never been in that situation. Like, I don't know what it feels like to lose 50 pounds or to lose 20 pounds in like a heavier body fat context. But I would imagine it's not that different than now. Like, if you lift consistently, you're tracking your calories well, you're doing your cardio, like the cardio is not insane Olympic level high intensity. I'm sitting there playing on my phone for 40 minutes. Like, sure, it feels like it's taken a little while, but it's not physically the hardest thing in the world. The hard part is just doing it. Like, I mean, I'm sweating, but you're not really, I think this is some just fitness propaganda that Rocky, the first Rocky movie gave us. Like, the idea that to get, into serious fucking fighting shape, you got to put your sweatsuit on and run around your city and run up steps and only drink egg whites. I think that the pop culture side of things has really resonated. Like, it's hard to diet, but you're not torturing yourself. It's more of just a self-control and, consistent routine thing. Like, it isn't every day like, it's more just like, all right, I'm going to go do my cardio today. I'm going to eat regularly sized meals so that I hit my calorie goal, and I'm going to train, and I'm going to have fun training. A lot of it's pretty fun, So what I'm getting at is whether you got to come down from 300 or you're coming down from like 200 to 180 or whatever, the difficulty, I feel, is probably similar. The subjective enjoyment could change a little bit. Obviously, for me to lose a few pounds right now feels much cooler than losing a few pounds 3 months ago, because relatively, I'm much leaner now. Every pound I lose makes me look a lot leaner than, when I was 265 coming down to 260. Like, for me to go from 235 now to 230 is going to be abrupt. 265 to 260, actually, it kind of sucks because I looked subjectively cooler at 265 than 260 because I was full of carbs and big. To go from full and kind of fat, and relatively, of course, to full, or to just, kind of flat and fat, it, it kind of sucks, Like the first month of this diet, visually, it was actually the worst that I would look throughout the year, because I've still got just as much body fat on my frame as at the end of a peak bulk, but I'm also not like full of glycogen and carbs, and like, just basically kind of swollen like a meatball underneath. Like I say fat, this is a relative to my situation, but yeah, it's just just look at that. It's kind of tricky. I mean, same thing like I was saying on the way here, like even talking about different dieting goals and fitness and everything, it's very independent specific. It's like, what have you done? What have you gotten used to before? I'm talking counting every carb, fat, everything. Like I grabbed one of the grape, not a Tootsie Roll, but like basically a Tootsie Roll that the Planet Fitness has in the front desk. Usually I'll grab one, especially when I'm doing all this cardio, because I can fit in 4 grams of carbs in just one of those. But I'm counting that. I'm not just letting that slide. So obviously I'm kind of at a point where I want to take this to a really advanced level, but you don't have to do that off the rip. When I started counting calories as a beginner, I counted no fats, I counted no carbs. The only thing I cared about was, okay, I'm gonna get my protein in. I'm 160 pounds, or 170 pounds-ish, and I've still got this tracked in like old Google Sheets. I was eating like 350 grams of protein a day. Because in my mind, 1 gram of protein per pound is good, 2 grams is even better. I don't think it hurt, but I think I would have been fine just eating 170 and then eating the rest, or eating more carbs and fats, what I kind of call like more fuel to power the lifts. You're never going to hurt yourself eating too much protein, though. That's I say that with pretty high confidence, But yeah, I only started doing that. I would just do like extra protein shakes and eat a bunch of Costco turkey breast. I was onto that really early, which is good. You just get like a 6-pound slab, like it's vacuum sealed, like the Kirkland one. I don't know, that's something to look into, and if you're like really trying to analyze, like, okay, what's the CPG, cost per gram of protein? Because like protein powder's up there, I think it might be like in the 6 or 7 cents, not to say 6, 7, or like, and egg whites might be a little lower or something. But I think the turkey's definitely pretty solid. And then just slice off an 8-ounce piece, 50 grams of protein, boom, decently moist, right? Easy, But that's all I started with. Made sure I ate my protein, worked out really hard. I didn't even do any kind of pre-workout for like 2 years. I was thinking, hell yeah, man, protein and training, that's all. And then as time went on and I got more, I don't even want to say more experience, but also like more curious. Because like, all right, if what I'm doing now is working, what else can I add into this routine? Okay, cardio, okay, that's actually pretty good. We got Rich Piana selling me on the cardio because he's sitting on the bike for 30 minutes every day. He's talking about increasing the cardio during his off seasons. All right, that's sweet, nice. Right, carbs, bulking up, protein, like it becomes its own hobby and its own interest beyond just like a little activity that you do in the day. Like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's definitely the number one thing I've been thinking about for the last 7 years, for sure. Like even since I got into it in the beginning, I can guarantee there has not been one day over the last 7 years that I did not think about the gym in some way or form. And that's setting the bar low, because I know I'm going to bed thinking about like, okay, that was a good lift today, did whatever. Okay, I'm excited for what tomorrow is going to bring, And sometimes those thoughts are actually a little kind of rough. Like when I started really squatting heavy in college, I'd get freaking nervous, because at this point I've never squatted anything over like 3 or 350-ish. Like I think 350 might have been my 1 rep max when I started actually kind of like really beefing up and getting serious. So for me to be moving like 5 plates for reps, I'd be freaking anxious. No music, no nothing. If I'm sitting in front of the squat bar, just like fucking you know, like it would. But it's never left my mind. So some people might think of that and think you're, oh, dude, I would hate that. I don't want to think about the gym. I want to be out of the gym as soon as possible, you know. So if that's you, whatever, you're still getting a lift, so you're cool. But it's, you know, that's just one more thing, you know. If your routine is if somebody's trying to come up with a fitness routine that they want to really stick to and enjoy, and maybe they kind of hate the gym, they're gonna lift because they want the results and they want like the benefits that the gym will give them, but they don't really love it. Well, his routine is gonna look much different than the guy who really loves it, the guy who wants to come in and train. Like he wants to stay. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want the pump to end, you know, because no matter what routine you can write out or what, like, you know, goals you say you're gonna work towards or whatever, you can say whatever, you know. Anybody can say, dude, you don't get it, bro. 2026, you're not even gonna recognize me. 2026 is that's my takeover, right? Or any other. We're not really saying locked in anymore. What are we talking about? I don't know. Well, some kind of whatever. Like, dude, I'm gonna do it. I've been as much as anybody. I've seen, you know, every TikTok, every Instagram post, and every just account. I'm wasting as much time on my phone as you guys, or as, you know, as anybody who isn't really responsible with their screen time, which I should be. And I've seen a million I'm gonnas. I've seen a million I'm gonna lock in, a million I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do whatever. And it just, you know, it doesn't happen. And I don't look at a post like that, because actually every so often I do see it. You know, there's a few videos of guys where they say they're getting lean, or they're gonna do a bodybuilding show, or they're gonna get abs, or whatever, you know. And it just, you know, to say it really doesn't mean a lot, you know. So that's where I like to think that your actions should kind of like speak for you. So if you're really going to do something, you don't have to say you're going to do it, you know. If I'm going to go home and I'm going to, you know, eat some canned tuna or something, I'm not going to sit here and say like, yeah, I'm going to go eat some tuna. Yeah, I'm going to go crack it open. I'm going to hit like it, you know. I just get into a little bit of a ramble now. But I guess all I could say is 2026, if you want to make it happen, shit, man, don't tell me you're gonna do it. You know, don't tell anybody you're gonna do it. Just do it. I think those are kind of the goals. When you achieve them, are actually probably a little more meaningful, at least on like a person-to-person basis, because it's like you only did it for you. You're not waiting for somebody else's congratulations or someone else's just validation. It's just, I wanted to do this thing. It was pretty hard, but I did it. Not a lot of feelings beat that. And the longer that it takes to do the thing, the better feeling you're going to get at the end of it, is at least my takeaway from everything I've kind of got out of the gym so far. Not to say that there isn't more, right? There's always going to be more, that's for sure. So, plan now, go get some food, probably 60-something grams of protein worth. I'll try not to go too high on my fats. I've been aiming, like, I've just been trying to keep my fats as low as possible. Like, I'm still, you know, counting everything, adding up to like a 2,500 calories. But, dude, it's freaking hard to get my fats at like 40 grams per day. It's been averaging like 65 or something. Like, I've been trying to keep it low, but, you know, I have a couple, I have a few of the, it's not cheddar, like or maybe the white cheddar rice cakes or something, and it's like 2 grams of fat each. It's hard to escape, you know. So just make sure you're tracking that kind of stuff. That's all I can say. But yeah, nothing else. I'll freaking see you tomorrow.